These were the points where I realized I could never marry him. Not on my watch. A Ghana warrior. I was gonna do this. I was gonna do that. I was gonna surprise you with this. I was planning that. Gonna. You sound like a damn turkey. That is someone that would only ever do something for you in theory, in their heads. And whenever you try to leave, they're gonna reel you back in with gonna. No thank you. They are never gonna. Being defensive like a 12-year-old whenever you say something they did upset you. No, I never even did anything. No, I didn't do nothing. No, I didn't do Are you 6? I'm not in primary school. I'm not your teacher and I'm not going to give you a detention. I just want to be heard. That kind of person you cannot communicate with. You just have to leave it. There's no point. Communication is like an attack for these kind of people. So you're not going to get anywhere. I can't marry you. You're missing the truth or lying about even small things. Because if you can lie about small things, you can lie about big things. And by big things, I mean your second family. I'm not waiting around for that to happen. I'm not marrying you. If you let someone get away with one lie, they're going to lie again. Then they're going to get sneakier, more skilled. Before you know it, they're hiding a second family. No, thank you. I don't need that.
Have you ever looked back at a relationship and thought, how did I miss that? You replay the red flags, the little things you brushed off, the gut feeling you silenced, the excuses you made for someone who didn't deserve your trust. At first, he is texting you all day, complimenting you, calling you his world. Then suddenly, he disappears. You start wondering if you did something wrong. Here is what's really happening. Inconsistency is not confusion, it's emotional unavailability. A man who is serious about you doesn't make you guess where you stand. So if he is hot one day and cold the next, that's not passion. That's manipulation. The truth is, most women don't miss the red flags because they are blind. They miss them because they care. Because they believe in potential. Because they want to see the good in someone who is showing them otherwise. Red flags don't fade with time. They grow. They multiply. And if you don't spot them early, they'll drain your confidence, your energy, and sometimes even your safety.
Red flags for my last relationship that I didn't think were red flags, but actually were. The first red flag that I will speak on is definitely love bombing. In the beginning of him and I, he called me and texted me on a daily basis, which I did not think was a strange thing. However, when he would text me, they would be like these long paragraphs of how beautiful I was and how he could see a future with me. And, very lovey-dovey type of things, very romantic. And one of the best examples that I have is one morning I remember I was on my way to my friend's house. Right before I left, he had called me, and my friend's house is a good 20-minute drive. That whole drive, and he was talking about how much he's starting to care about me, how he could see a future with me, how beautiful I was. That whole drive, I didn't get one word in. I remember thinking to myself, wow, this is a lot. But also I was thinking to myself, here is a man that knows exactly what he wants and he's going after it, so how could I fault him? When in fact, this man was love bombing me. The second red flag that I will speak on is just excuses he would make. And the best example I have of excuses, after we got engaged, which was in 2019, remember him saying to me, we'll get married whenever you want. We've been waiting a long time for this, so we can get married whenever you choose. Now, for context, I did not want something big. I was interested in doing something very small. His friends were trying to convince him we should do something in Dubai, and I had said, let's do something intimate with you and I, and then we can do something big later. So as I'm looking at dates, I find something, we have a conversation, he tells me that date will work. So I make the necessary arrangements, and I want to say about a month before, somebody in his family had gotten sick. Now, I'm not talking regular sick. This man was saying that one of his family members had cancer. So of course, things came to a halt. So we get through that, and now he's like, okay, we can plan again, you can choose the date. So of course, I choose another date, we move forward. A month before that, somebody else in the family gets sick. And as he's telling me these people are getting sick, honestly, I'm not questioning. And yes, I am believing him, because who lies about having cancer? That is a sick, twisted lie. But this man literally lied about people in his family having cancer. Who does that? I'll do a part 2 so I could talk about the other red flags.
When a man disrespects you and treats you like you are nothing, that is exactly what you must become to him. Make yourself disappear. Houdini that man. But this is exactly where most of you driven, successful, beautiful women go wrong, because I see it every single day in my one-on-one sessions. You don't see his lack of consideration and inconsistency as rejection. You see it as an invitation to prove yourself. So instead of walking away, you start performing, and you think, I'm not losing anything by trying, but you are. You're losing your dignity, you're losing your self-respect, you're bending over backwards to become what he might want someday. But Allie, you don't understand. Once he sees how great I am, he's gonna step up and he's gonna start pulling his weight. Who told you that? How it starts is how it will continue. And what incentive does this avoidant man have to treat you better when you've already accepted basura, mentiras, porquerías, and rewarded it with access, warmth, and reassurance? You want to know what actually commands respect? Walk away, because your absence will cut deeper than your words ever could. So wish him the best and go be with the man who heard you the first time.
I coined the term quiet dating, and a lot of people were confusing it with a quiet relationship, which couldn't be farther from the truth. As a young woman, I personally believe in loud relationships for many reasons, which we'll get into. But quiet dating is really about not overselling yourself on someone you just met because you're talking about him nonstop with your friends. But when it comes to being in a relationship, I think it is beyond important to be loud and transparent with your inner circle about questionable habits and red flags. In relationships, keeping quiet only enables bad behavior, and people need to know that people know. In other words, your partner needs to know that people know what is happening in your relationship. Reputation is everything, and we're not in the business of protecting bad actors or bad behavior. I say it all the time. Relationships are hard. Relationships are work. No relationship is perfect, and problems will always find you. But the last thing you want is a situation that no one sees coming because you were so fixated on keeping quiet and saving face. So please tell your friends and the people that are closest to you the truth so they can properly advise you. Say it with me. Quiet dating, loud relationship.
So looking back, there were definitely a lot of things that I would now call red flags, or even more than red flags, honestly, just scenarios and situations that seem obvious to me now in the mindset that I'm in. But when you're that close up to a situation and being manipulated in that way, it can be really hard to see the situation clearly. So some of these things would be monopolizing my time and really isolating me from friends and family. And again, sort of at like this slowish pace to where I didn't even really realize that it was happening. Trying to control every little thing that I did, from what I wore to who I spent my time with, judging me, judging my friends, like for saying one thing or wearing something, or trying to, again, that goes back to the isolation, I guess, but trying to make it seem like everyone wasn't good enough. I would say one thing would be really making me feel like I could open up and sharing things and details about my past, and then using that against me in an argument to put me down, to make me feel small, to make me feel shitty about myself. Trying to make it seem like the people in my life that I know care about me in a deep way didn't care about me. Again, that goes to the point of isolation, I guess, trying to make sure that he was the only person that I would come to about things, and that I couldn't listen to anyone else's opinions because they just weren't valid, or they didn't really care about me, or they were wanting something from me. I've touched on this one before, but love bombing, so doing really extravagant things, like we would go on trips and there would be just like these ridiculously nice like rooms. They're obviously beautiful, but like so unnecessary. So just really like buying things, taking you places, like love bombing, and then taking all that love away. Abusing substances, obviously this is not like, none of these things are blanket statements. These are just my experiences and things that happened to me personally. But abusing substances, lying about abusing things, making me feel crazy like all the time, making me feel like I would smell alcohol, or I would smell something like that, for example, and it was like, no, I wasn't drinking. Like lying about that to make me second guess myself. I think that was probably one of the hardest parts. Was I think the situation started to make me second guess myself and my intuition, and I was right the whole time. Abuse of all kinds, and I don't use that term lightly, and I've seen some comments on here from people saying you haven't actually told us what happened or addressed it or whatever, and obviously these are all very personal things. I'm choosing to open up about them now in hopes that this might help someone. But if you have anything negative to say, I can assure you none of this is light, and just those are the type of comments to keep to yourself. Everyone's scenario is different. Every situation is different. These are some things that happened to me. I wish I would have removed myself from the situation sooner, but I'm grateful that I removed myself when I did.
Sis, are you really still sitting there hoping that this man who shows you that he hates you every day will change? He's not going to change. In fact, what he's going to do is waste your time, dog you out, then he's going to leave you for what he sees as an upgrade. And one thing about this side of TikTok, we are so honest. So read the comments. The women will tell you their experiences. You cannot outweight a man
whose behavior makes you feel physically or emotionally unsafe. And what a lot of women do, almost unconsciously, I think, is that they act like they're waiting for him to change. When in reality, his behavior has been so consistent that they know he's not going to change. So what they're actually waiting for is for him to get tired. And let me ask you a genuine question. Why would he get tired of treating you like that when you are not tired of being treated like that? Who's suffering? Not him. Yes, some men are tapped and go out of their way to be cruel, mean, evil. But there are a lot of men who just want to manage multiple situations, want their freedom, want to do what they want when they want. And as a woman, you're not realizing that you're not the motivation for any of their behavior. You're just there as an enabler, letting him do what he continues to do. And some men are going to do it because they're not changing. But some men, if they actually came across women who put their standards in place and said, I'm not accepting anything less than this, would change. But you can't put standards in place with no actions behind it because you're just talking, you're just yapping. And once a man has experienced you complaining about something, but consistently not doing anything about it, that man no longer respects you. And I keep trying to tell you guys on my knees, if you do not have a man's respect, you don't have anything in that relationship. Okay? Now, like I always say, there's always an exception to the rule. For best results, assume it's not you. Mwah.
I wish guys understood that when they are doing a girl dirty or treating them badly and she keeps staying with him through it, he is on a clock. And that timer has started. A lot of girls tend to stay in situations longer than they should because of attachment. But that attachment is not forever. There will come a point, if he doesn't fix up, where she gets tired of it and clocks out. And we don't even know that this is happening to us as women. Like, we don't realize that we're checking out of a relationship. We just keep getting disappointed, and then we do. And when that happens, when you've passed that point of no return, it's too late. He could do whatever he wants after that point. It's not going to fix the relationship. It's not going to get her to be with him again. They're done. And the worst part is, you never know at what point this is going to come. Some girls get dogged for a really long time and then randomly one day wake up and they're done. Some girls it happens quicker, but everyone's on a clock. These guys are on a clock, and if they knew that, if they knew how urgently they needed to fix up because the girl that they're doing that to is just about there, maybe it would save a lot more relationships. Anyways, guys, don't wait till it's too late.
Do I look like I was left off of bed and bougie? I mean, let's be for real. No, for real, y'all, but I have a serious question. What does a man who is a provider and a protector look like? Like, I really want to know, right? Because there's so many thoughts and opinions on like, oh, your husband doesn't look like a provider. I'm trying to figure out what that means, right? And the reality of it is, it just goes back to the point that we as women, especially Black women, we don't know how to vet and properly pick good men, because the women love to say ain't no good Black men out here. You're picking the men based on superficial materialistic things that have no effect. They're not going to change generational curses. They're not going to stop them. They're not going to create generational wealth, because you're looking at the man who has the biggest chain around his neck, the man who drives the fanciest car. You will pay attention to his car and he doesn't even have a place to live. But the car will make you think he's a provider. We, again, as I said before, we have not been raised and taught how to properly choose men, not just based on can they provide for me, right? But what kind of person is he? What kind of person? Because again, there's no look to this thing. But we as Black women, we get caught up in all the glitz and glamour and we be stuck, salty, mad because it didn't work out, because you were focused on the wrong thing. And baby, what you thought he had, he don't really have it. And you're living a life that you don't want to live. And you wasted your time. You gave up your body to somebody based on what they have, what kind of car they have, what kind of clothes they wear. We got to really recognize within our community how much of a problem it is, because we go off of just what things look like. We're not looking at characteristics. We're not looking at their heart. We're not looking at their actions. The red flags be there. And all the conversations around my life and how, what people assume because nobody knows, shows me how the red flags be there, y'all. Y'all just don't pay attention because you're looking at the chain, but the red flag is flashing in your face, telling you he ain't got no job, he ain't got no job. But the chain says, but he got a big chain. We got to make this stuff make sense, ladies. Do better. Stop letting your eyes get so big that you can't even use your brain. And you end up in these situations, then you're out here talking about how there's no qualified, there's no good black men out here, because there are. You are just choosing the wrong ones based on the wrong things.
Flags sound familiar. Take a breath. This isn't about shame. It's about awareness. Because once you see the pattern, you can choose differently. You can protect your peace, rebuild your boundaries, and walk away before it's too late. And that starts with honoring the warnings your heart tried to whisper long before it started to scream. If this video hit home, share it with someone who might need the reminder. And if you are ready for more truth like this, hit that subscribe button, and I will see you in the next one.